Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from Sauce on Oleic. Oh man, I haven't recorded for a while. Well, that's not true. I've been recording. I've been doing some interviews, and take me a little while to edit. But I'm back again here. Hopefully, try to structure a little episode today. So what happened is some researchers in Taiwan. I was reading a New York Post yesterday. Well, I was on Facebook and an article came up because Facebook knows what I like. I want to talk about hair loss. I want to talk about health. I want to talk about behavior. I want to talk about self-control. I want to talk about, that's the kind of things I want to look into. You know what I mean? I want to. If I'm gonna distract myself, let me distract with myself with something that's gonna encourage me. But after a while, I don't know, maybe it just seems like just stroking my ego or something like that, just to consume the same things over and over again. But I saw a post once, which is not necessarily scientific evidence, stating that watching the same movies over and over again is good for your brain. So maybe me delving into the same kind of content over and over again, it might be good for my brain. But I realized that I don't really retain information very well. I had to double check whether the liver is the organ that deposits fat all over the body yesterday, because just to write this that I'm going to be talking about. So researchers in Taiwan, right, National Taiwan University, on a project led by a gentleman named Lin Sung Jan, right? Last name is SUNG-JAN. So what they've found out is that they're able to induce, hair growth in about 20 days using unsaturated fats, specifically monounsaturated fats, specifically the fatty acids, monounsaturated fatty acids, okay? Monounsaturated fatty acids. And the ones in question are oleic acid and palmitoleic acid, right? So what happened was they shaved these rats, and what they did was they irritated the rat's skin using, I'm sorry about my indicator, but I need it. They irritated the rat's skin and triggered eczema in the rat skin, okay? Then they applied the oils diluted in alcohol. So after 20 days of application, there was noticeable hair growth compared to rats who were simply shaved alone. Now, that's what I'm reading from the New York Post, and that's what I'm reading from the Taiwan news article that I tried to go to that had a little more detail. Now, before I start adding my skepticism to the whole thing, I want to talk about some of the things that I think are great about it, and some of the parallels between the ingredients they're using and sauce on oleic. So oleic acid is heavily present in sunflower oil, and I've been raving about sunflower oil probably for the past 2-3 years, and I like sunflower oil. So oleic acid is present in sunflower oil, soybean oil, canola oil, safflower oil, and peanut oil, okay? And it is a omega-9, right? It's referred to as an omega-9 fatty acid, I guess, right? Now, palmitoleic acid is present in macadamia oil, sea buckthorn oil, avocado oil, and olive oil, right? And that is an omega-7 fatty acid. So, these are present in some of the things that I use in my ingredients, which is olive oil. I used to use avocado. I stopped using avocado. But I use sunflower, I think I implemented some canola the other day, but I don't really like the smell of canola, but it's very readily available. Now, sunflower is the number one. Sunflower, as far as I was reading, I think on Wikipedia, contains about 70% oleic acid, which is the omega-9 fatty acid, right? So, but what I didn't do, like this guy is doing, like this scientist is doing, or this research team is doing, this National Taiwan University, I never implemented alcohol, because I already felt like alcohol dried out the skin. But anyhow, I kind of went off a tangent. Okay, so let's bring ourselves back together. Okay, so it's about these monounsaturated fatty acids, which are oleic acid, which is an omega-9, palmitoleic acid, which is an omega-7. Okay, they applied it to these rats that they shaved and had triggered eczema in those rats. And then after 20 days, they saw hair growth, more so, I would say more so than compared to those rats who did not have anything applied to them, any eczema induced or any oil applied to their skin. And they got more response in the rats that they induced eczema in. So what they're saying that the tests show is that it's a combination of not just the oil, but the immune response of the skin to the irritants. These irritants that triggered eczema helped to increase, the regrowth of hair. So let me just read what I wrote down. This is what I wrote down. It might not even be grammatically correct, okay? They induced eczema in the rat's skin using a skin irritant. Triggering eczema was integral to the effectiveness of the serum. The oils were dissolved in alcohol before being applied to the skin. They believe the body's immune response sent stem cells to the skin, and the monounsaturated fatty acids helped to feed the follicles. From my own research, source on delay, me Stokely. From my own research back in the day, some researchers had already suspected that loss of subcutaneous fat at the scalp resulted in hair loss. So if your outer layer of skin is thin, it's probably going to result in hair loss. Some guys were saying that way back in the day. I can't really reference the article. This is probably 2022 when I was looking at those documents. 2021, 2019, maybe even. No, not even 2019. Maybe that far back. Anyhow, in my opinion, in me, Stokely's opinion, that's why liver function is so important to fighting hair loss, as it is responsible for making fat deposits in the body. So if you're giving your body a whole bunch of omega-6s, you're promoting inflammation, which is not the kind of inflammation that we want, even in this case of this experiment where they're triggering immune response, inflammation, irritation in the skin. That's not the kind that we want. The omega-6s, anyhow. Which are more saturated fats. The saturated fats are like the omega-6s. They're not good for you. So let's go. So monounsaturated fatty acids are the healthy fats. According to Wikipedia, they are inversely associated with breast cancer, and which means that if you consume more of them, you reduce your chances of breast cancer. In theory, if you consume the olive oils, the sunflower oils, so on and so forth. Now, a lot of people don't like canola oil, right? The reason why they don't like canola oil because of the processing. It uses petrochemicals like hexane to strip the smell, and it does. Sometimes they superheat it in order to take away certain things from it, which kind of makes it carcinogenic by introducing I guess free radicals. I don't really know why, but the processing of it is what makes it bad. Now, olive oil, you can also get highly processed olive oil, which is, not the best for you. The best thing is cold pressed everything. Cold pressed everything is the best thing, where it's not brought up to any high temperature to cause it to become more carcinogenic. So anyhow, moving along. The mice. Okay, so this is my issue with this article. This is my issue with the article. Maybe they're leaving out a lot of details. The process that they're using is patented, so I don't think a lot of it can be revealed, because maybe it's potentially that we can reproduce these effects on our own. So they're not really, it doesn't seem like they're sharing much, and then they're probably going to release their own cosmetics, or they might release their own serums, or whatever the case may be. But hey, so here it goes. This is my this is the part that makes me question this experiment or this research, right? The mice didn't have androgenic alopecia, nor traction alopecia, nor stress-related hair fall. From what I could read, their hair was shaved off, right? So I'm thinking, okay, if you just shave your hair's gonna grow back. So it's not that they cured hair loss, or it's not that they cured hair loss. The most they may have done was speed up hair growth. They may have sped up hair growth. They didn't cure hair loss. The rats didn't have hair loss. According to what I'm reading in the article, they shaved the rats. So, it raises a lot of questions to me. Does it take 20 days after you shave a rat? Does it take 20 days for that rat to grow the hair back? Or when you shave a rat, does their hair just not grow back? So whatever they did to these rats is not necessarily reproducible in human trials. Now they're starting human trials and to see if they can reproduce the same effects. Now, when I first read about this, when I first read the post, I didn't really delve into the Taiwan article, the article from the Taiwanese newspaper, which is called, let's see if I can find it here. No, I can't find it here. So, the Taiwan newspaper, I couldn't get any additional information. But anyhow, when I initially read the post and it said that they irritated the skin of the rats, I was thinking they did, like some kind of dermal abrasion, like or something like a derma roller, which I have a derma roller, but I haven't consistently used it. I feel like it kind of works. That's what I thought, but now I'm realizing they use some kind of irritant chemical, or probably it's not very detailed. I don't think there's access to the actual research. It's patented, so it's not like somebody was trying to do research for a peer review study just for no reason. That's like NSF funded or government funded, so that it becomes public domain or anything like that. It's not accessible. As far as I'm aware, it's not accessible, right? So, but I like it. I like the fact, that this is promising. The only thing is it reproducible in my case, where I'm going through probably androgenic alopecia due to andropause or whatever, right? Or due to just, reduced liver function due to whatever, due to environmental factors, poisons, contaminants, pesticides, Wi-Fi, who knows what's going on, being sedentary, sitting down all day, who knows, right? So it might not be reproducible in humans anytime soon, but I'm interested in seeing what National Taiwan University comes up with in their further studies regarding this serum that they've developed. I think it's very promising, and like I'm saying, one of the things that the Taiwanese newspaper mentioned is that someone interviewed one of the people who participated in the study, and the person said, listen, this palmitoleic acid and the oleic acid, they're nothing harmful, so it's not it's nothing, there's no side effects to worry about, and just from looking at, from the ingredients that I listed: safflower oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, olive oil, sea buckthorn oil, just looking at those, these are mostly things that we consume already. We put them in our food all the time, so it shouldn't, putting it on your skin, shouldn't be any side effects. And the person who they interviewed also mentioned that, listen, they've been spraying the alcohol diluted oleic acid on their legs, and it's shown for them increased hair growth. So who knows, I mean, yeah, that's promising in my opinion. So if we can combine all the things that we know about DHT, about subcutaneous fat, about blood flow, about sleeping and getting enough sleep, getting enough rest, minimizing stress, minimizing cortisol, because the hair follicles produce cortisol, and if your body got too much cortisol, then it's an overload of cortisol and it'll make your hair fall out. If we combine all these things, stress management, all of these things, I think we can really make a gain regarding some hair loss. A lot of hair loss that's going on, especially post COVID-19. Now, another thing I just wanted to mention before I close is that I had an interview with a developer the other day who was developing a product. You're gonna hear about it. And they said to me, they were saying that you're only as good as your last XYZ. And then I had a disagreement with them. Well, it wasn't a big disagreement. I said, no, I don't agree, because, and the reason why is that I said I disagreed with them. I don't want to exactly say what we were talking about, because the interview is going to come out. But the when we have a zero sum view of things in life, it can cause you to. It's going to cause you to act, or it's going to cause you to learn helplessness, to develop anxiety sometimes, and feel bad about yourself, get into depression, or whatever the case may be. It can have a negative effect if everything is zero sum. It's either all or nothing. To have that kind of perspective is I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's healthy to have that kind of perspective. I think that when life throws you lemons, you make lemonade, right? I think that you need to adapt to every situation, and if you're experiencing hair loss, I was looking, and I'm not really going off tangent, but I was reading a post where these guys on the internet, you have Instagram reels where they make jokes and stuff like that. So the guy was saying, listen, man, he was saying to some basketball player, listen, just cut your hair bald, man, because you're losing your hair. And then I went into the comments, and some guys were joking, and these guys had already shaved their heads. Some guys were going bald since they're 19. Some of them are going bald in their 30s, and they said, listen, guess what? I'm going to cut it all off. And some of them are responding that, most of them responded positively, saying that, listen, man, I don't have any problems socially shaving my head, and it saves me money. They're making lemonade out of lemons. There's a few guys that said, well, not everybody has a head shaped for a bald head, right? Not everybody's bald head is flattering to them, but the majority of guys, said, listen, I just shaved it all off, and now I feel free. So it's liberating sometimes to just adapt. Now, we're not going to adapt to something that's not good for you. But maybe even shaving your head might be good for you. You get more sunlight on your head. You know, you save the money. Like the barbers want to charge you $50 sometimes to cut your hair. So, you know, it might work out better for you. You know, you can get up and go. You know, your hair grows fastest during the night. So you get up in the morning, you run one of those, I forgot what they call them, skull gliders over your head. And then you're out, you know what I mean? You put some oil on your head, or you put a hat on, or whatever the case may be, you know? You don't have to really have it in a way where you don't like it, you know what I mean? So, but, so, even in the case of hair loss, I don't think it's something we should bump our heads over. We can do what we can do, and we can try to keep what we have, and we can try to even restore what we have. But don't feel despair, don't feel anxiety, don't feel depression over it. Don't feel, I don't know, don't get down about it. And don't zero down and say, oh, well, you know, it's all over, and, you know, no. Feel good about yourself no matter what. Say positive things about yourself. Bounce back. Find another way. Make lemons out of lemonade. So, yeah, I was having a conversation. I mean, I know that the interview subject, he was just making conversation. You know, he wasn't being serious. But the reason why I was serious because it was triggering to me. Because you know, I've observed other people, and I myself have been, and I'm sure he has been also, through situations where you're like, you're so broken up about whatever the situation is, that you're so broken up about the situation that you start thinking crazy. And that's what I would like everyone to avoid. You know, I think everybody should just try to bounce back. Try to bounce back, and don't take life serious, but don't take yourself too seriously to the point where you're gonna hurt yourself. You know what I mean? Protect yourself and bounce back and swim like a shark. You know what I mean? Why I say swim like a shark, I mean a shark has to swim in order to breathe, so you gotta keep moving. Or Bruce Lee says flow like water. Bruce Lee even better says flow like water. So anyhow, I've spoken enough, right? So National Taiwan University has had some successful experiments in restoring, not in my opinion restoring, it's not restoring hair loss, in speeding up hair growth. I'm going to rephrase it because it's not, these rats didn't experience hair loss. They shaved the rats. They shaved them. The rats did not lose their hair. The rats were shaved. So I think the Post is being optimistic. I think the Taiwanese newspaper that I read is being a little optimistic, and I like optimism, but don't jump the gun and tell me that you're going to cure my hair loss when actually what you did was just shave somebody's head and allowed the hair to grow back, and whatever you applied to already viable hair follicles, you applied something to viable hair follicles that made the hair follicles grow faster. That's how I'm reading it. If you don't agree, man, let me know, man. Maybe you've read the article. Maybe you have looked into this. I really like what they're doing. I really like the research that they're doing. I'm glad I came across this article. It's just I have a lot of questions regarding the rats' follicle condition. Had their follicles already went into a vellum state? Had their follicles have just like stopped producing, or just, you know, maybe the telogen phase was rapid to the point where, you know, they have hair falling out? Did they induce androgenic alopecia in them? Did they induce traction alopecia in them? Did they induce hair fall due to stress or nutrient deficiency in the rats? No, that's not what I read in the document, in the article. The article says they were shaved. So if they're shaved, that tells me that they didn't experience hair loss at all. But still promising, the fact that they're saying that their immune response created stem cells, also boosted mitochondria. I don't really. One time I looked up what mitochondria is all about, but I can't. Mitochondria is where the energy is created in the cell, but I don't fully understand it. So they said that it boosted stem cells, it's boosting mitochondria, and also the oleic and palmitoleic oils are feeding the subcutaneous fat almost, or feeding the fat cells that surround the hair follicle, right? So that's what they're saying. These are unsaturated fatty acids, specifically omega-9 and omega-7 are the topics of discussion in this article. And topically applied with diluted alcohol. Who knows how much alcohol did it take to dilute it? Why did they use the alcohol? The alcohol maybe allowed it to be dispersed so that they could spray it. The alcohol alcohol is usually used to strip oils from things, or to sanitize things. So I want to know if they were able to somehow emulsify, like get a homogeneous mix of alcohol and oil. Is that a thing? I got a lot of questions. But hey, that's enough from me. All right, because I'm just talking in circles. But thank you so much for listening.